Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the challenger tonight, hailing from Vancouver, Canada, Gordon Neatfist Boom Boom Massimo. In the other corner, the undefeated, hailing from Isla, Scotland, the reigning champion of the Scotch world, Lagavulin 16.
All right. Well, good evening. Welcome to the Wee Dram. Excitement abounds. Why? We have the Lagavulin 16 on hand tonight, which is it's more than exciting, it's epic. This is epic. It's one of the all-time favorites. I'm nervous, I'm excited. So what do we have? Well, we have a box we've seen many, many times, sort of the kingpin of the classic malt series. Elegant dark green with the gold. This is 43% alcohol by volume, and it is only 700 milliliters. So a beautiful box. They have the other classic malts listed on the back, talking about how Lagavulin is believed to be one of the oldest distilleries in Scotland. Nice little graphic here of a sort of very old 19th century looking print. Established in 1816. Excellent. We have the Lagavulin crest on the top. Let's bring the bottle forth. Beautiful, classic looking smoked green glass. Let's remove the crown and approach the cork. And I do believe it's probably a good time to test the cork. So let's give this a try. Satisfying. Ooh. Intoxicating. Absolutely glorious. And the smoke and the wood and the medicinal seaweed of a Isla whiskey. Well, let's see what it looks like in the glass. Excellent. So, unfortunately, we do know that they add some colorant to this whiskey, which is one of the very few marks against the Lagavulin 16. For what it's worth, it does have a lovely amber gold color to it. So before it even comes toward the nose, the bouquet begins to announce itself with a very familiar smoky peat, just the touch of seaweed, but dominant with the wood smoke. You know you're dealing with something beautiful and igniting memories of drinking Lagavulin on many, many other occasions before this, and the hope that this particular dram is going to stand up to all the memories and all the excitement and all the hope that you have when you drink what you consider to be one of the finest whiskeys of all time, which is something not lightly said. Well, I think it's time to give it a go. Salon Shiva to one of the finest. Too much for words. You just have to let it happen. So what makes this a superior whiskey? The nose, the transfer to the palate, the front of the palate, the middle of the palate, the end of the palate, into the finish. So many different things occurring, not quite simultaneously, in sort of their own small chapters, and then finishing in arguably the most complex and most descriptive finish. It is something that has to be experienced, it has to be held. It absolutely dances and moves and changes and then delivers, and it is a masterpiece. Let's have a second taste. You can feel the peated smoke arriving up into your nostrils, up playing around through your tongue, coming up into your sinuses. And again, that expressive finish that sort of has its own narrative to tell after the whiskey has been consumed. and it just continues to give, and it continues to change and demonstrate its complexity and superiority. This is absolutely a whiskey that needs to be experienced by every individual who is on their journey to enjoy single malts. Even if you don't have a particular liking for peated whiskeys, for the Islas, this has to be a point of comparison. How can you classify a masterpiece? You know, what can you say about this whiskey in terms of points for or points against? Clearly, the flavor, the intensity, the experience is pushing the tops of all the charts. What pulls this whiskey down? Well, the knowledge that they add artificial color. One might argue that 43% is perhaps the minimum for a quality whiskey. And I suppose one thing that needs to be mentioned is that it's not cheap. It's an expensive whiskey. But how can you not grant a 5 to such an incredible masterpiece? I think that this Lagavulin 16 is legendary for a reason, and that's why, for the first time in our tasting experiences on the Wee Dram YouTube channel, that we are going to have to give this 5. It's a champion. It's a beauty. Lagavulin 16 from the Wee Dram. Salon Cheval. Have a great evening. Cheers. Knocked out flat. Cold knocked out. Champion took down another foe. Why'd I even step in the ring? I knew what was going to happen.